Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. Happy finale day. That's right, it's Tuesday, and we've got the second part of a two-part, unless there's more. Maybe there's 5 parts for all I know, the way this is going to spill into the streets. Finale of The Bachelorette, starring Gabby and Rachel, and of course, the last man standing on Gabby's season is now Erich. Sure, still standing. We'll have to see if he's standing after the end of tonight's episode. And alumni address his Blackface apology from almost about 2 weeks ago, and we're going to get into that story right now. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. I'm also going to be live on Patreon for a good part of the day today as we talk about all of the finale shenanigans going on. I'll be live for the most part tomorrow as well. A lot of behind-the-scenes content. Now is the time to join if you haven't already. Patreon.com/Dave Neal for behind-the-scenes private content. It's essentially my public live streams, but only about 30 to 200 people, depending on who's in the chat. All right, so we've got the Vibe podcast. They are commenting on Erich's apology, and it's a good conversation between Ivan and Demar. I think they got a great podcast. I think they've kind of been under the radar for a lot of people because there's so many Bachelor podcasts, but this is what podcasting is all about. It's about having different voices from different communities, from different perspectives. There aren't as many men alumni that have podcasts. I mean, I'd have to do some stats on it. It's a different set of eyes, ears, and thoughts. And we're going to get into that in a second. Today's Amazon link for the teacher of the day is Mrs. G, and she's got a preschool classroom, and there's a lot of different items on it that you can donate. They go directly to her and help the classroom. Special supplies, stepping stones. I mean, there's some fun stuff in here. First, spooky words. Maybe for Halloween you could do that. As soon as you purchase something, goes directly to our teacher of the day. Thank you guys in advance so much. And of course, let's get into the Vibe podcast and what they had to say regarding the apology. Let's have a listen.
I will say Erich was at least quick to respond, and he responded in the form of was it a black box on his Instagram?
So here's the black box here. All right, I can't toggle between the two things, so let's just have a listen. My fault. I thought I could toggle.
Time out. The fact that this man put the black box like it was the Black Lives Matter movement from, what was that, 2020 when everybody did that? I saw he finally caught on to the wave 2 years later, posted it on his Instagram with the long caption. I read the caption. I was like, okay, I mean, I see it. But the fact that you were so outright 10 years ago on it, showing your face and having a good time in the yearbook and whatever you're at, whether it was a party, wherever you're at, do the same thing now. Be in front of the camera now. Talk to us about it now. Record a video. Don't put a black box.
Exactly. And I mean, that's my thing. Like he wrote out that whatever that caption. Well, we think he wrote it. Who knows how many people helped him, all that stuff. Or he did it himself. But that's my thing with it. It's like whenever it comes to apology, if you do it over video, to me, it's if you actually mean your apology, it comes across way better.
Now I agree. And here's the thing. It's complicated because, you have someone who's not exactly media trained, Erich. An apology that's done on paper, you can sort of figure it all out versus you always say, do it on video. But then sometimes you get like a Taylor Nolan who on video comes off worse than anything she could have written because you can just feel it. But that helps the audience. If you're not ready to apologize, wait. Figure out those emotions. You're getting publicly shamed. Then you're going to feel defensive. You have to get to the feeling of remorse and actually be apologetic. But as humans, we use all of our senses through video, through sight, through feeling, through empathy, and all that. We figure it out more when it's like a Rachel Kirkconnell who apologizes through video. But at the same time, it doesn't mean he won't do that. It doesn't mean he won't discuss it further. But this was the first step. They say a little bit more. Keep going. And I think that's good. Keep going. Keep talking. This can be a good thing.
Then people can I think a lot of people can pick up on like your how genuine you are with the apology. When you just post something and write it down, shoot, they could have had one of the publicists from the Bachelor people write that for him. Like, hey, this will get the job. Like, and then he's like, all right, I'll do it. So it's like, I don't know where it's coming from. If it actually came from him, cool. It's like a baby half step. But like, no, get behind the camera. Let's see if he shows up to any interviews, coming up when talking about it. And then that's when you get like a real read on a person. And by no means am I saying like, just don't ever let this dude rebound from this. But like, let's see if he actually learned from it and if he actually grew to be another person or if he's just saying it. Because a lot of people will say that just to say it,
Yep.
So
Yep.
It is what it is.
It's too easy to hide behind a caption or words and whatever case it is. Now, I do not know Erich's character. I don't know much honestly about Erich. I never talked to Erich, but at the same time, what he did needs a stronger apology that feels more genuine and authentic. That's the part that I was missing that he thought that he was giving us. At least I can assume.
Will we get that tonight on the After the Final Rose? Now, obviously, Eric's going to have a lot to talk about. Why not package it all together? Now, don't get me wrong. I think every conversation can use all the love and bandwidth possible. But as we know, on the After the Final Rose, they only have so many minutes they're going to give us. Will we get an apology for the text messages that the ex revealed? Will we get to Blackface? I think Blackface is more important, but I think for Gabby's sake, the other one's important as well. It's his relationship. It's his life.
Whom he thought he was giving us. I didn't feel like I was connected to what he was saying. What he was saying line for line, it checks off the box that, oh yes, it's a sound apology, but it's not grounded in anything authentic. That's at least I can say that. At least I didn't feel that. So, and that's coming from me, a black man. I didn't feel that. I didn't feel it. So I don't know if he's trying to convince me or convince, the general public who watch the show, because the majority of those viewers aren't black. So they could probably give 3 damns about what happened with Erich.
Obviously, people from where he's from don't give a damn.
Yeah. They're like, Erich, that shit was funny, bro.
Right? Dude, yeah. That's it's all kind of crazy because like this was like to me eerily similar to the Rachel Kirkconnell situation with Matt James.
Yeah.
It was, like hers was in college when all that happened and they're at the plantation or whatever. And then his is like in high school. But like just
they're similar in the sense that at the moment, they didn't realize the gravity of the situation they were in. Call it what you want. That's not an excuse so much as an explanation. Rachel Kirkconnell at a party that was themed antebellum style. Didn't realize what that meant, as Rachel Lindsay said, for people that looked like her. And then, of course, in Bedminster, New Jersey, does Blackface as Jimi Hendrix. Couldn't possibly have the teacher. I mean, they all dropped the ball in different ways, from the teachers to the yearbook staff to him to his mom. If she let him walk out the door like that, but again, the buck stops with him. In the end, it's him in the photo.
Complete like racist shit going on, but like obviously people are starting to see like this stuff happens. I get it, like especially in the south area, southern parts of the country.
Yeah, and I don't know where he's from.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where.
But like this country is unfortunately founded on racism and slavery and all kind of shit. Like that's going to be inevitable. It just sucks that as we're in our teens and we're younger, we don't see the racist points because we're so oblivious to it because that's all around us. And that's what tradition is. That's what's been fun to do. That's what's been taught to us. Maybe consciously or subconsciously, whatever that is unfortunately, that's just what it is. However, if you look like me or you, we got to double check ourselves before we do anything. And that's not the case on their end as much. But I hope they can figure out what they need to do.
Yeah.
Come up with a more authentic apology, in my opinion. But then again, you're not apologizing to me. You're apologizing to the whole community. The ones that actually felt that shit a little bit more. For me, I saw it. I'm like, man, another one. That's all I thought. Monster, come on, man.
And I will say another thing that I is like especially if you start looking at comments, you'll see all this stuff about like, oh, they were just kids. Oh, like for Rachel and Erich, they were just kids. They were young. We make mistakes when we're young. I get all that, whatever. But then I also see stuff where it's like, guys, stop canceling these, stop cancel culture, all this stuff. I see that nonstop. Yeah. And I get so annoyed when that happens because I'm like, Rachel and Erich by no means have been canceled because of their racist actions in the past. They are the two most popular people from their seasons. Yep. How are you canceled when you're literally the most popular people from your seasons? Like that doesn't make sense. And by the way, when you're the most popular person from your season, that generally means you make the most amount of money after the season too, and have the most amount of opportunities.
All right, so that's the video. And I don't disagree with them. The idea of cancel culture, first of all, I've been railing against this for years because the definitions are all off. Cancel culture is not about never working again. It's kind of just like about exposing someone for wrongs that they have done. And in some cases, people get fired. In some cases, people will lose income or a sponsorship, but not get completely fired, but whatever. And in other cases, nothing. Like there's nothing that the audience or anybody can take from Erich right now. There was nothing anyone could take from Rachel at the time. They were under contract on the show and they weren't going to lose any money or any jobs. And Rachel's apology was enough, I guess, in the moment to sort of put out the wildfires. And then she did the work. She did work to educate herself and her audience to say, no, guys, don't defend me. This isn't right. I think what Erich should do is say something like similar. Hey, don't try to defend it, guys. It was wrong. Ignorance or whatever, it's not an excuse. It was wrong, and I'm going to pledge to do better and have those conversations. Because when people say, what's the work? The work is in part conversation. It is exposing light, shining light in the dark. We always say light is the greatest disinfectant, because knowledge is power, and understanding what was wrong will prevent future generations and other people from making the same mistakes. Understanding our nation's history. These are important things. When sinister forces try to take over, they try to wipe out teachers. They try to wipe out what books we can read and things like that, because knowledge is power. And if people know that basic human rights should exist for all, if people know that there's marginalized groups that exist out there, then we can pledge to do better and be better humans for it. Erich clearly dropped the ball. His teachers clearly dropped the ball. And that whole sort of culture dropped the ball 10 years ago or wherever it was. Okay? So when people say, and I'll just wrap up on this, a lot of comments say, how come all of the successful people are the ones with these controversies? They say, is it the ones that have these racist scandals? They always end up succeeding on the show. And I think that's a sort of almost a confirmation bias. Like, they get exposed because they're successful. He wouldn't have been exposed if he was going to get kicked out week 1. But somebody who knew him, somebody who had that yearbook photo, was like, he's going to win the show? Well, I'm going to share this, da-da-da-da-da. So that's kind of how it works. Same thing with Rachel Kirkconnell. There's plenty of people like Lee who had racist tweets and all these other things, and they clearly have no association with the show because they weren't anywhere close to the finalists. I think, like I've said before, and like I've said ad nauseum, conversation is key, and pushing Erich in a way that gets him to have those conversations, to me, is more valuable than shunning and exiling him from society. Let me know what you guys think. Tons of content coming your way today. I mean, tons of content. I've got a video over on the Dave Neal Show, a non-Bachelor video about Adam Levine. Is that his name? Levine? Anyway, we'll be back in a little bit. Hit the link in the comments section if you want to donate to the Teacher of the Day. Bye, guys.